Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be discussing with you Pitta Dosha, how it manifests physically, mentally, and emotionally. And we're going to look at the positive and the negative aspects of it. So in this video, I'm going to describe Pitta Dosha, and in the following video, I'm going to give you some advice or some guidelines as to how to pacify and keep Pitta Dosha in a healthy version. So if you remember, Pitta is made up of fire and water. And so fire represents all of the heat in the body, all of the heated elements in the body. And we kind of see heat in the body through things like body temperature, which is regulated by blood, through digestion. We see a negative aspect of heat through things like inflammation and infection. And then the other aspect of Pitta is the water component. And in this instance, the water component is made up of things like blood and hydrochloric acid and bile and digestive enzymes. So the water component in Pitta is connected to the fire, and it's part of Pitta's role is all about transformation. Pitta's role is about digestion. So transformation meaning that things come into the mind, so we have ideas, and by working through them, we transform them into reality. So we digest visual impressions, we digest information coming in through the mind, just as we digest food that's coming in through the mouth. Just as we digest the air that we breathe, it becomes oxygenated, and then it goes through and feeds our blood. So Pitta's role is all about things coming in, and then that heat transforms, digests, metabolizes, so that the body can then use it physically, mentally, and emotionally. One of the concepts that I want you to think about is that there's always a positive and a negative. And I've said before that the understanding certain qualities of a dosha, the reason that we want to understand them is because they provide a roadmap. They provide a roadmap for us. And what those qualities are talking about is that when they're, I always say it's like your stove, if you have a gas stove. Well, when you go to cook something, you can cook something on low heat, you can cook something on medium heat, you can cook something on high heat. When you're cooking on either low or high, well, low means that it might take a really long time for something to cook. And then conversely, when you're cooking on a really high heat, there's a tendency to burn things. Sure, you can cook things much faster, but if you kind of take your eye off the stove, there's a tendency to burn. And that's when Pitta is too low or too high, we have a problem. But when it's at that medium speed, now it's functioning optimally. Yeah, it's bright, it's illuminating, it brings out all of these wonderful characteristics like passion, enthusiasm. But when it's turned up too much, it can bring up the critical emotions. And when it's turned up or down too low, it's not going to cook things properly. Okay, so we're always talking about balancing the dosha. So there's your essence of who you are. We don't want to take that away from you. But again, when it's turned up too high, we're going to have problems. When it's turned down too low, we're also going to have problems. So I just wanted to set that for you. So then, remember I said to you before that these elements, Pitta is made up of fire and water. And we can't really see fire in the body, but the way that we see fire is through heat. So one of the qualities of Pitta that we speak about is that Pitta is hot. Now, how does that manifest? It manifests, it's going to manifest differently for different people. One way is you might have a higher body temperature, so you run hot. And you may not notice this, when the season is cold, but I know, for example, I have a lot of Pitta in my body. Come summertime, at a particular point in time, I don't like going outside, because what's going on outside is reflected in my body. So my body temperature runs high, my skin may turn a little red, I get a little flustered, I might have redness in the face, my energy dips. So that's how we see it in the body, you know, and I would say I'm going to be in sleeveless and in strappy right up until, you know, it starts to get cold again, because I can feel the heat in my body. So it can manifest as high body temperature. It can manifest as high digestive fire. So people who have a Pitta digestive system, that means that they get hungry quite often, so they have a voracious appetite. They need to eat 3 meals a day and probably snacks. You know, my joke is always, don't separate a Pitta from their food, because they don't get angry, they get hangry, they get irritable, they get annoyed. And sometimes, when I was younger, I remember I couldn't even form a sentence. I'm like, I need to eat first, and once I put food in my mouth, then I will be able to converse with you. So these people need to eat on a regular basis. And you may find, particularly when they're younger, that they have a large appetite. Well, that fire is really high. Now remember that if someone has a high digestive fire, the chances are that they're also going to eliminate more often. So it's not, it's quite common, I should say, for Pittas to eliminate, you know, anywhere between 3 to 6 times a day. And for them, constipation is, I didn't poop, you know, my normal 3 to 4 times a day. And they know they're in the bathroom and out of the bathroom really quickly. So you can see the heat then, body temperature, you can see the heat in the digestive system, you can see the heat in the elimination system, you can see the heat sometimes in just skin issues. So Pittas can have inflammatory skin issues, and one of those things can just be redness in the skin, rashes in the skin. You can also see the heat sometimes in not just like the redness, but pimples, acne, cystic acne, rosacea. So that's how this heat is going to manifest in the skin. And then we can also see heat in heated emotions. So as I was saying, the positive, it can be passionate, energetic, visionary, doers. When the heat's turned up too high, critical, judgmental, sharp tone, unteachable. I know everything. Don't tell me. I've got all of the information, and that's just this increase of heat in the body. So you can see that I've talked about heat now, and I've talked about how it manifests physically, mentally, emotionally, and even physiologically in the digestive system. And one other way that the heat can manifest in the digestive system is that not only can they have this desire to eat a lot more than other people, but then there's a tendency sometimes for what comes out of the body, for the stool to either be loose or burning, or they can get diarrhea. So, and again, that's just the heat turned up too high. And this is something that we pay a lot of attention to with Pitta. Another aspect of Pitta is that there's a moistness. Remember, water is moist, but the water component in Pitta that we're talking about is all of the digestive processes that happen. And so your stomach has hydrochloric acid in it, and hydrochloric acid changes the large chunks of food like protein, and it breaks it down so that the body can then further metabolize it and use it. So Pittas can have a sour tummy when the fire's turned up too high, or they could have indigestion or heartburn. Again, this is just the heat in the body when the fire's turned up too high. They can also have, because of this, so bile is also connected to digestion, and that means that they can have oiliness in their stool, oiliness in their skin, oiliness in their hair. So Pittas tend to have thin hair. It can be oily. Early male pattern baldness is an aspect, and early graying. And the way that they talk about it is that it's this heat that rises and kind of turns our hair silver. Because I'm really only 25, but here I am with silver hair. The other thing that's really interesting about the oily is that Pittas generally don't like fried food. Fried food, if you think about it, I mean, I love fried food, but I know that I can't have too much of it, because that very consistency, it's hot, it's hot and oily, that's a Pitta. And so remember that in Ayurveda, summer is Pitta season. So now you have a hot person, let's say in the middle of summer, at lunchtime when the heat is at its highest, eating fried food, that's going to increase the heat in the body and can create some problems. So the tendency that they don't like fried food, and then for a lot of them too, they tend to not be able to process milk products really well, or things that are kind of heavy and creamy. They just cannot process it. Another characteristic of Pitta is that it's light. So Pittas come in with a medium to light body frame. Okay, they're not heavy, they're athletic, they're competitive, it's that heat again, generally competing with themselves and probably everybody else. And so that means that they're also drawn to competitive activities. So they're team players in a lot of instances, but they like competitive physical activities, sporting activities, and they also like competitive mental activities. So the kind of work that they're going to do, they're usually in positions of authority. Pittas kind of do really well in the modern world, in the corporate world. They have a lot of authority, they have a lot of power, and they're focused and single-minded, and they, if you have an idea, the Pitta will turn that into a reality. The problem is, again, you turn that heat up too high, and Pittas have a tendency to burn themselves out, but they also burn everybody else. And because of their sharpness, because of that focus, so that heat creates a sharpness. If you've ever burnt yourself, you put your finger on a flame, it's like ouch. So Pittas can hurt you with the sharp words that they use, with the high tone. They love to point fingers. And so it's kind of interesting that even when you look at their facial features, they tend to have sharper facial features. So cheekbones, angularity in their facial features, hooded eyes. They tend to have, as far as skin is concerned, it's again light skin. So a typical Pitta is going to be fair skinned. They're going to be sun sensitive, meaning that their skin burns easily. But because Pitta also resides in the eyes, you can be sun sensitive, meaning that the glare bothers you. I know for myself, for example, I can't be outside without a pair of sunglasses. The glare just really bothers me. So there's a sensitivity to light. There's a moving quality to Pitta. Because of that oiliness, there's a spreading nature. And so we kind of see that spreading nature in some of the diseases that happen, like infections, inflammation, and like spreading skin rashes. But another way that Pitta spreads is that Pittas want to spread their name and fame throughout the world. So power, fame. There's nothing wrong with any of these things, but there's always the balance. This is, this need to be acknowledged, to be important, to get to the top of their field. This is something that Pittas tend to do. And if you kind of look around at the world, people who are, whether prominent in social media, prominent CEOs, in politics, in any organization, they have that element of fire in them because it's that drive, it's that passion, it's that wanting to get to the top. The other aspect about Pitta is there's a pungency. There's a pungency, and how that pungency kind of shows up is that it can be a pungency from the things that come out of the body. So Pittas tend to sweat a lot, more than the other two doshas, but particularly in summer. Or particularly when they're exposed to heat. So they might like some heat, but then after a while, I know with me, in the middle of winter, I'll put the heater on in my car, I'll warm myself up, and then after a couple of minutes, it'll be like, turn it down, open the windows, oh my God, I'm suffocating, it's hot. So those extreme temperatures are mimicking who they are, and it can increase the heat in the body. So they're going to sweat more profusely, and the pungency can be the smell that's associated with the sweat. They can have smelly breath, smelly sweat, smelly stool, and then they can have burning sensations in the body. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be burning from the digestive tract. It can be on the skin. It can be in other areas of the body. And the pungency is also, as I said, in these heated emotions of anger, criticism, hate, judgmentalism, kind of this obstinance, holding on to stuff. That's where the sharpness comes into it. So we want to learn how to, honor the heat in someone, honor that passion, but make sure that we turn it down, because too much heat is going to burn you out. Okay, it's going to burn you out physically, mentally, and emotionally, and it kind of becomes this mask where you can't really see what's going on, and you can hurt other people. But when that heat's turned down, then there is this phenomenal digestive fire. There is this, sharp focus, this laser sharp mind, this passion that comes out of these people that you kind of want to follow them and be around them because you want to learn from them. So now I've described Pitta for you. In the next video, I'm going to tell you how to manage Pitta. Yeah, how to keep Pitta cool, how to keep Pitta calm, and how to keep Pittas happy. So I'll see you next time. Bye.